Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Today is Wednesday, November 17th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. We start with an update on the murder trial for Kyle Rittenhouse, something that the entire country is paying attention to, that a lot of you are clicking on WKYC.com. The jury is now in the second day of deliberations, and they have now asked to see video that was previously presented at trial. Now, as a reminder, Kyle Rittenhouse is facing multiple charges for his role in the death of 2 people and wounding of another person during a protest, during demonstrations against racial injustice in Kenosha, Wisconsin that happened in the summer of 2020. So after failing to reach a verdict yesterday, the jurors again deliberating today, and they are trying to decide whether Kyle Rittenhouse was the instigator of that night when 2 people were killed at his hands and 1 person was injured, or if he was a concerned citizen who came under attack while trying to protect property. So after 2 hours of deliberations today, the jurors asked to view video presented at trial. The judge said he would determine the procedures to do that. Prosecutor Thomas Binger said that they should be able to view the video, or any video, as many times as they want to throughout the deliberations. But defense attorney Mark Richards said that he would object to the jury viewing a video taken by a drone that prosecutors said showed Rittenhouse pointing his gun at protesters before the shootings. It's a jury of 12 people. They deliberated for a full day yesterday without reaching a decision. Rittenhouse faces life in prison if he is convicted on the most serious charge that he faces. Again, this is stemming from his use of an AR-style automatic rifle to kill 2 men and wound a 3rd person. We have an update on the people who are being held responsible for the January 6th insurrection. Jacob Chansley, who you may know as the QAnon Shaman, has been sentenced to 41 months in prison. That's 3 years and 5 months in prison. This is one of the longest sentences in connection with the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol building. If you remember him, he's from Arizona. He wore a cap with horns on it. He carried a spear on the January 6th riots, and he will now be spending years behind bars for obstruction. Now, prior to his sentencing, he talked about his time in isolation, and he said, "I'm a good man who broke the law." Well, the judge was not swayed by that. District Judge Royce Lamberth told him that his basic problem in departing downward from the sentencing guidelines and recommendations is, even though he said it seemed that his thinking had evolved in many ways, that what he did was horrific. Obstructing the government, here's a quote from the judge, "is so serious that I cannot justify a downward departure. You made yourself the center of the riot." So he has been, in fact, sentenced to 3 years and 5 months in federal prison. He will get credit for the more than 300 days that he's already been in custody since he was arrested in January. So if you're doing the math, that means he's got about 2 years and 7 months to go. Once he's released in about 2 years and 7 months, he'll have to undergo periodic drug testing and also get medical health treatment, ongoing medical health treatment. Now, this is tied with the longest sentence yet that has happened in the Capitol riot case, tied with the prison term given to Scott Fairlamb. He's a New Jersey man who was sentenced last week to 41 months in prison for assaulting a police officer. Now, bringing things back closer to home, 3 people have been rescued, but 1 person remains missing. This is from the water after 2 boats collided on Lake Erie in the Huron area. So again, 1 person missing. The U.S. Coast Guard is still investigating. The 2 boats collided late in the evening yesterday around 8:30 p.m., according to the Coast Guard. When the Coast Guard arrived on the scene, the Huron Fire Department had already pulled 2 people from the water. Another person was pulled from the water by a Good Samaritan, and they continued to search for a 4th person. Late on Tuesday, dive teams were looking for that 1 person who is unaccounted for. What the officials have said is they believed that the people were kind of ejected from the boats when the 2 boats collided. Officials also tell us here at 3 News that there could be more passengers in the water, but they haven't been able to confirm that, and searches are ongoing right now. We don't have any more information at the moment. This is a developing story. When we do get more information, we will bring that to you on WKYC.com, our WKYC app, and of course on all of our shows this evening if we do get that additional information. Now, let's take a look at what's going on with Pfizer and its COVID-19 pill. Now, you may have heard of this. Pfizer is asking for U.S. regulators to authorize its experimental pill for COVID-19. It's just one of a handful of pills that have been shown to significantly cut hospitalizations and deaths once people get infected with COVID-19. Now, if this is authorized by the FDA, This could be a major step in managing the pandemic, returning to normal, and offering an easy, effective way for people to treat their COVID-19 symptoms at home. Right now, all FDA-authorized treatments against COVID-19 either require an IV or an injection given by a health professional at a hospital or clinic. Now, this filing from Pfizer comes as COVID-19 cases are rising again. There are hot spots in states where it's colder, people are being driven indoors, and people are still getting together. Here's another update from Pfizer related to this COVID-19 pill. It has signed a deal with the UN-backed group to allow other manufacturers to make its experimental COVID-19 pill. This could make the treatment available to more than half of the world's population. That is a lot of people. Pfizer said that it would grant a license to the Geneva-based Medicines Patent Pool, and that would let generic drug companies make this pill for use in 95 countries. That's about 53% of the world's population in those countries. That's more than 4 billion people. That is a lot of people, but the deal is not perfect. It would exclude some large countries that have had devastating COVID-19 outbreaks. For example, Brazilian drug companies could get a license to make the pill, to export the pill to other countries, but it couldn't be made generically for use in Brazil. Seems like a tough technicality that somebody's got to be able to figure out a way to work around. But right now, that's how it stands. That's how the deal has been done. But health officials do say the fact that this deal has come together before Pfizer's pill has been authorized anywhere could really help end the pandemic quicker. And ending the pandemic is something that everybody wants. The head of policy at the Medicines Patent Pool said that he estimates that other drug makers will then be able to start making this pill within months. Does acknowledge the agreement wouldn't please everyone. Again, seems kind of wild that companies in Brazil could make the pill to export it to other places, but that people in Brazil couldn't use that pill. We'll have to see how that develops. Again, we'll bring you those updates as they come on all of our WKYC platforms. Now, there is a new study from the nonprofit Kaiser Family Foundation looking at who is most likely and who is least likely to get vaccinated against COVID-19. They've been taking the pulse on this throughout the pandemic. What they have found, as they are looking at people who are planning to attend holiday gatherings this year, is that 20% of adults say they won't get the vaccine, or they'll only do it if they are required to do so. Nearly 75% of adults have gotten the vaccine, and the rest said as soon as possible, or they will wait and see. Now, the three groups and people who are most likely to say that they will definitely not get the vaccine were people who live in rural places, 33% of those people, Republicans, 31% of that group, and white evangelical Christians, that's 25% of the group. The demographic groups with the most people who said that they already received at least one dose were Democrats, 90% of them, people 65 and older, 86% of them, and college graduates, 83% of them. Now, when it comes to the COVID-19 booster shot, 53% of vaccinated adults say that they will get it, 24% say they probably will, and about 20% say they definitely will not get the booster. There is also a clear party divide. The majority of Republican and Republican-leaning people say they've gotten at least one dose of the vaccine, but the group found that Republicans still make up a disproportionate number of people who are not getting vaccinated. That is a number that has steadily increased, and nearly 4 in 10 Republicans say they likely or definitely will not get a booster. This is something that they say will hinder vaccine efforts going forward. That's according to the foundation. Now let's talk about the Cleveland Browns, and let's talk about quarterback Baker Mayfield. And he is saying that this is the most banged up he has ever been in his 4-year NFL career. He said today, it's not like it's one particular thing. It's multiple. It's just that time of year, and things add up. You know, it was on Sunday against the New England Patriots when he was taken out late in the game with an injury. He ended up getting a knee contusion. He was cleared to go back into the game, but head coach Kevin Stefanski kept him out of the game because the score was already so far apart. There was no way for them to make him up, so he kept him out of the game, kept Case Keenum in the game. But it's not just the knee, right? We've got Mayfield's shoulder injuries as well. He's got a torn labrum and a fractured bone in the left shoulder. That had him miss his first game of his NFL career, the Browns' Week 7 win over the Denver Broncos. He did say, though, Baker Mayfield said he expects to play on Sunday when the Cleveland Browns take on the Detroit Lions, who are winless, by the way. The Detroit Lions are 0-8-1, and that tie came to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let's give you an update on the Ohio native who is competing for love on The Bachelorette. His name is Rick Leach Jr. In Week 5's episode, that was yesterday on ABC, we saw Michelle Young eliminate 3 people, dropping the field from 11 to 8 people, and Rick Leach Jr., who is a graduate of Walsh University, a North Canton native, he got one of those roses. He was on a group date, and it was kind of tough to watch. She, in a previous one-on-one date, in the Week 5 episode, she took someone to see the Twins, to the Minnesota Twins field. Well, she told these guys to meet her at the field, too. They thought they were going to meet the Minnesota Vikings football players. No, they were actually meeting people who were dressed in costume, characters of medieval Vikings, as in warriors. And these guys had to let out war cries. They had to do physical tasks. They had to eat food like they ate back then. That included fermented herring and something called Vikings head hash, which is made up of apparently cow brains and tongue and cheek. So Rick Leach proved that he has what it takes. He can stomach what it takes to make love last, and he had a good time on that group date, and at the elimination ceremony, he did get a rose. So Rick Leach Jr. will be moving on. He'll be moving on to next week, where they'll stay in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Again, that is Michelle Young's hometown. So we're really pulling for Rick Leach Jr. We'll see what happens there. Now, as we look toward to Thanksgiving, which is next week, there are 4 foods that you definitely should not feed your pets. Here what they are. These come from Trupanion, which is the leader in medical insurance for pets. Turkey. Avoid the turkey giving it to your pets because it's a choking hazard. The skin, the fat, and dark meat should be kept away from your pets, and if your pets get a hold of cooked bones, it could damage their digestive system. It could cause choking or ingestion problems. Regular white meat is fine, but you do need to check and make sure that it doesn't have any bones in it. Also, stuffing. Keep the stuffing away from the pets because the ingredients in there are toxic. Onions, chives, garlic, and scallions are dangerous for your pet. Butter is also something that pets do not need in their bodies. Not good for them. Mashed potatoes are also bad with toppings. Now, completely plain mashed potatoes, that's okay, except for the fact, there is butter usually in mashed potatoes. But the toppings that go on mashed potatoes, again, those onions, those scallions, those chives, keep them away from your pets. No good for you. Also, the desserts, pumpkin pie, apple pie, pecan pie. I know there's a debate there. Pecan, pecan. I'm going with pecan, okay? It's the sugar. Keep the sugar away from your pets. They don't need that. If you want your pets to be able to participate in that kind of thing, they do have animal-friendly replacements that don't have all that sugar. And while we're talking about food, let's talk about what McDonald's is doing. They are offering their Egg McMuffins at a special throwback price to celebrate 50 years of the Egg McMuffin. 50 years. Wow. Congratulations to them. I spent some time working at McDonald's. That was one of my first jobs. Early morning, those Egg McMuffins, they really got me through. And the hash browns, by the way. Okay, I digress. You can get your Egg McMuffins on Thursday for 63 cents through the McDonald's app. That's this Thursday, November 18th. But you can only get it till 10:30 in the morning, right? Because that's a weekday. So can we just take this moment to tell McDonald's, this is great. It's wonderful that you're offering this Egg McMuffin at 63 cents. But what we really want is all-day breakfast back. So can we work on that? That would be great. That would be super great. I would love to be able to get a hash brown at 2 in the afternoon if I want to, Sometimes you just want a McDonald's hash brown. Anyway, they also talk about how they have hacked Egg McMuffins over the years and how people hack their Egg McMuffins, including adding bacon, tomato, grape jelly, hash browns, syrup, and even chicken to the Egg McMuffins. Hey, you do your thing. I can see how you could maybe want a hash brown on there, but as for grape jelly and chicken, I'm not sure I get that one. Even when I did eat meat, I don't know that I would put chicken on my Egg McMuffin. All right, that's it for your 3 News Now update today for Wednesday, November 17th. I will see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.